We are so excited to bring you a musical performance by Julian Toogood for our next presentation. Julian will be attending the University of Michigan this fall as a freshman, majoring in percussion and engineering. With that, please welcome Julian.
Julian, it's great to see you. In front of me are two snare drums. One is a regular snare drum, this one, and one is a pancake snare drum, this one. These drums are called snare drums because they have snares, a collection of wires held at tension attached to the lower resonance head. Without the snares, the drums sound like this. With the snares turned on, they sound like this. For the piece I'm about to play, I'll be keeping the snares on. I'll begin the piece by using brushes. These are wire brushes, and when I play the drums with them, they sound like this. This piece also calls for an unconventional technique called a rim flex, wherein the performer must slap the brush against the rim of the drum and allow the wires to whip back and forth on the head, gradually adjusting the angle of the brush to create a fluttering sound. Nice. You may also notice the assortment of equipment strewn about me. For a closer look, here is my view of the setup from yesterday's dress rehearsal. One challenge of playing with a track and a video is that nothing can be wireless. This cable I have wrapped around myself is connected by the reticulated python on the floor to the laptop over there in the corner, which is connected to the speaker system in front of me. I also, to the right of the snare drums in this picture, I have my own laptop, which was doing the job of that one, but got replaced. In front of me, I have my sheet music, and below I have my page-turning pedal, because my hands will be a little bit busy for the next few minutes. The piece I'm about to play for you is called Menticide by John Sappis, and it was written in 2018. I'll be accompanied by a background track, which will include a robotic voice reading and spelling out paraphrased text from American-Canadian scholar Henry Giroux's The Violence of Organized Forgetting. The script will be displayed on the screen behind me, and you will discover that the text is dominated by a fairly simple inquiry. Why? This seems like a fairly simple question, but it is easily one of the most difficult questions to answer. So as I play this piece, and as you leave here today, I encourage all of you to ask this same question. Why? Here's Menticide.
The next speaker I'd like to introduce is Meera Pandey. She participates in field hockey and tennis, and she's a freshman at Green Hills High School. Please welcome Meera.
When I was in 4th grade, I really wanted to volunteer in the community. So one day I came home and I asked my parents about volunteer opportunities. While browsing the internet, we found age restrictions on every opportunity. After this, I was determined to start something of my own, because even at 10 years old, I believe that all kids should be able to give back to each other no matter their age. Hi, my name is Meera Pandey, and I'm a freshman at Green Hills. I'm here to demonstrate how youth can make a difference in their community. For me, making a difference came in the form of helping to develop a nonprofit organization called By Kids for Kids. By Kids for Kids is a youth-led nonprofit founded in 2017. We currently have 13 youth board members. By Kids for Kids' mission is to serve all children and to inspire change in the world. When the nonprofit started, we collaborated with 2 organizations. First, CAN, the Community Action Network, which helped in the development of a program called Kindle Kingdom. Second, we collaborated with Michigan Foster Care Closet, which helped in our collaboration with Soulful. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, several schools were closed and youth were forced to learn the basics of outside of the classroom. Many youth fell behind both academically and socially. Black, Hispanics, disabled, and low income were impacted disproportionately. According to Osmo, an interactive gaming company, they found that 7 in 10 parents believe that social skills are at risk. As I had talked about previously, we had started a program called Kindle Kingdom. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, this program had to be shifted virtually to Kindles for COVID. We also started a Youth United Virtually summer camp. Kindles for COVID is a program similar to Kindle Kingdom. Each session lasts 10 weeks and 2 to 3 buddies are paired together. A facilitator is there to help guide meetings. Kindle Fox flyers are provided to ensure that all kids have access to the same books. Kindles for COVID's goals are to reduce the reading gap, encourage reading, improve youth literacy, and create youth peer connections. From the beginning to the end of the program, we conducted pre- and post-survey to determine the effectiveness of our program. We hypothesized that both reading and friendships would increase. Through surveys, we found that friendships increased from 37.5% to 88%, and reading increased by 81%. As well as the reading program, we also had a Youth United Virtually summer camp, started in 2020. This summer camp had many programs including microaggression seminars, art classes, yoga classes, and baking classes. By Kids for Kids also believes in youth volunteerism through our back to school drive, holiday gift drive, and many other projects. We proved that youth can make a difference in our community. Our work has been shown to improve literacy rates and create connections. The success of the program motivates us to empower other youth to create positive change in the world. Youth have the ideas, the creativity, and energy to shape a better world. Youth are full of hope, and through imagination and innovation, we can be problem solvers and generate a positive change in the world. If you are interested in volunteering or have any questions, please go to our website at bykids4kids at bykids4kids.us. Thank you.
The next speaker I would like to introduce is Arjun Alva. Arjun is a 9th grade student here at Skyline with a unique desire for writing and mathematics. With that, please welcome Arjun.
I was in second grade when I came home feeling upset. Someone had said something to me and my mood was off. When I asked my mom what I should do about it, she said I should write my feelings down. And so I did exactly that. By the time it was time for bed, I had told my mom that I was already feeling better somehow. That was the beginning of my journey. And this is where that writing journey all began. In the last 3 years, I've written and published 3 separate books. But writing has helped me with academics and beyond, not just publishing books. For me, solving math problems and writing actually go hand in hand. Math has always been my favorite subject, and my love of it has only deepened throughout my experience as a 9th grader. I'm currently studying calculus, and as I delve in deeper through some of these complex problems, I've come to realize that they provide clues to many of the questions that surround us. The dense concepts of calculus, multivariable calculus, vector calculus, and linear algebra provide perspective on how to solve problems in many different ways. If you ask me right now what I'm really striving at, I can easily tell you that I'm engrossed in my studies of applied math and applying calculus in exploration of space. But at the same time, I'm also learning about samurai and the Indian War for information for my 4th book, which I'll be published next year. In 5th grade, my class teacher asked us to write a story about anything. When I showed him mine, he was impressed by it. Furthermore, my parents encouraged me to further my writing skills, and I did that. In fact, at an early age, I can remember that I could write for hours together, endlessly, on a couch. I could be the hero fighting aliens on Mars, or the brilliant scientist winning a Nobel Prize. I just loved developing characters and seeing words on a computer screen as a powerful story. In December 2018, I published my first book, The Adventures of Jimmy Halebuster. The following year, however, I decided to be a little braver and published a book in a completely new genre, horror. I published my second book, The Grim Reaper in the Alley, in December 2019. Finally, in January 2022, I published my 3rd book, named Cultsbury, which revolves around the story of a young man and his experiences in the conflicts of 18th century Europe. Now, writing is an art, of course, but so is solving a math problem. There are many ways to write a thought, just as there are many ways to solve a math problem. In my writing, when I go from sentence to sentence, I go from an idea to a new idea, a thought to a new thought. One of the things people often struggle with, undoubtedly, is mental focus. When I find myself losing mental focus, I like to write things down. And this helps me remember equations, formulas, theorems, or anything else that I need to remember. Part of it is because when we write, we are constantly thinking. More importantly, we are thinking and analyzing and sorting facts into a kind of cognitive narrative. For example, what will happen to this equation when the coefficients are changed? And little by little already, we're diving headlong into a different world, the world of calculus. 2 years ago, my parents decided to get the walls of house freshly painted. I was very happy as my mom had chosen a blue-colored wall for me, and this is what I wanted. That evening, I sat down to solve a problem set, but I struggled, got stuck, because my answer just didn't match the answer key. So I went to bed that night, still thinking about that same exact problem. Early the next morning, I woke up, took my pen, and actually solved the problem on the freshly painted wall, just for fun. It's a different story to talk about my mom's reaction to that. But at the end of the day, it did teach me one thing. And by the way, I use a whiteboard whenever I need to scribble any math-related things down. So that's something good that came out of that. But I can see with certainty that writing does teach you one thing. It teaches you resilience. When you're writing a chapter or a story, and you have to face a writer's block, for example, it is only natural to get frustrated. But the important thing to remember is that you can always come back to the story and finish it. That to me is resilience, to fail, to make mistakes, and yet to try again. Every time we imagine something or we think outside of the box, we're being creative. The abstract concepts in math, free body diagrams in physics, or complex analysis in applied mathematics all require deep imagination. And deep imagination is something that all my writers friends can certainly relate to. That is why I emphasize so much on saying that writing and solving math problems are both interdependent, because they both stimulate thought. In my mind, I often end up comparing the different chapters of calculus or mathematical forms to poetry or prose in my writing. It gives me a sense of fulfillment, if you will. Whenever I'm solving a problem or writing something, a story, I like to put my ideas or my thoughts into notes, particularly sticky notes that I put all over the house. And it does take me a lot of effort to actually clean them up, but they're a very efficient tool for not forgetting things. And this is something that writing has taught me, to take good notes. When it comes to math is all about abstract and concrete thinking. It truly is. You reach a logical conclusion step by step. Writing is the same in many ways, actually. For example, you can ask yourself, how does the protagonist change? What does he go through in the course of the story? Where do the steps in the story take him or lead him? These are all solving and analyzing problems. Just the way I feel happy when I solve a problem or write a program or code, I feel happy when I write. It gives me great pleasure to see my idea, or you could say my brainchild, take shape on paper. Now, math and writing for me are fun. They're my passion, and I live in a world that is constantly intertwined with them. They're my happy place and what I look forward to each and every morning when I wake up. They give me the confidence and courage to be my true self. And they honestly make me a better person than I was yesterday. But if you ask me, writing and solving math problems are not about getting good grades. To me, they're about excellence. To understand concepts and go beyond what is just taught in the normal classroom. And seek answers, most importantly. So the next time you're stuck on a math problem and you're struggling, don't give up. Go write something, write anything. Feel free to clear your mind and come back and try again, because there is always an unbreakable bond between writing and solving math problems. And there is nothing in math or science that cannot be solved by thinking and writing. Thank you.
Our final presenter of the day is named Nicole Zhong. Nicole is a sophomore at Green Hills High School, and her favorite movie is Forrest Gump. She loved it so much that she even wrote an essay about it. Please welcome Nicole.
So, I'm a sophomore in high school. which means I'm applying to a lot of summer programs. Now, if I was an adult, I'm sure that I would be sitting at my desk with my black coffee, churning through my application. So, you know, I work hard, but then I play hard. Those two things are kept separate. Now you see, those lines are a little bit blurry for Gen Z. So I'm sitting there, going on TikTok, looking at that recent edit of an hyphen. And then I'm going over, reading about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case, because wasn't that new voice memo just leaked? And then I'm going on Snapchat, replying to 6 snaps, posting on my private that I'm hashtag working hard. And then I'm fleshing out the conclusion of my essay about a problem that I'd solved before for Harvard Summer School. All of this happens within 10 minutes. Now, not to flex, but for the sake of my point, I did get into Harvard Summer School. My parents were more shocked than me, which honestly confused me because I've got great credentials. However, they had watched my working style and simply could not understand how I could produce a compelling piece of work in this way. So this sparked a fire in me. Why did I do things so different than my parents? I decided to ask Professor of Psychology at our school, Dr. Liza Ruggiero, for the answer. I credit this to the way we have been trained to think, how we, as a society, define productivity. So, what is Gen Z productivity? I would say it's productivity defined by concise, short and sweet, valuable, and perceptive information. This new kind of productivity has been born out of the cultural reset of the internet, and no one has been affected by this more than Gen Z. I mean, I was born the same year the iPhone was invented, so I learned what unlimited data and Bluetooth was, the same time I learned how to write in cursive. To start off, let's take a look at the difference between our productivity and our parents'. Our parents think sequentially. Think of a reminders page. There's a list of things to do, some fun, some hard work, but you tick off the boxes one by one. However, I've noticed that Gen Z thinks parallelly. So think of browser tabs. There are some that are fun, like 2048, and some that are hard work, like my Harvard essay. However, all of these tabs are open at the same time, and you can switch back and forth between them. Now, both sequential thinking and parallel thinking are different and valid ways to do things. However, I'm going to tell you why Gen Z parallel thinking will be the way to go in the future. To do so, we need to travel back in time before the internet. My mom was telling me how when she was a teen, she'd have to use encyclopedias to learn things. If she wanted to learn something new, she'd have to cross her fingers and hope it was in the encyclopedia. If she wanted to learn about what was happening overseas, she'd have to hope that there was a non-biased international paper somewhere at her disposal. If she had a passion, but no book and no teacher, it'd simply fizzle out. She was limited by the amount of information that she knew, and physically couldn't dream of ideas outside of her knowledge. Before the internet, people were limited by the amount of knowledge they could acquire. However, with the age of the internet raising Gen Z, we have been exposed to so much information already. In fact, I feel confident saying that every high schooler in here probably knows a little bit about everything. With the internet, we are no longer limited to the knowledge that we store in our brains, like my mom was. Our ideas are no longer limited to just what we know. shattered. For example, if we don't know a word, we can Google it. If we're into K-dramas and we want to learn Korean, from a Korean, we can DM them on Instagram. Just don't get catfished though. That'd be really unfortunate. Our knowledge database is no longer limited to what we can store in our brains, but what is available on the World Wide Web. We don't have to think sequentially anymore because we can access information and open a new tab, just like that. We have the ability to spend more of our brain power thinking outside the box because we are not confined to what we know. We have changed the definition of productivity, and that is why we are the future. Gen Z will be running society in about 10 years. If we've learned anything, it's that the way we do things is not as structured as in the past. For example, a classic 9-to-5 work style may not be the way to go in the future. Upper management should be ready to accept a new, more fragmented working style in order to harvest Gen Z's full potential. So all in all, Gen Zs are the queens, the masters, the ultimates at multitasking. And because of the world we live in now, this works. Right? Well, Dr. Paul Ashley, an associate professor of cognitive psychology at the University of Kansas, doesn't quite seem to agree. In an article published in the Harvard Business Review titled, "You Can't Multitask, So Stop Trying," published in 2010, Dr. Ashley writes that we know multitaskers do less and miss information. Sadly, multitasking does not exist. We instead switch tasks. Our brain chooses which information to process. My first response to Dr. Ashley is, wow, what a sequential thinker. My second response to Dr. Ashley is, he does have a point. Multitasking has been proven to reduce efficiency, long-term memory, and creativity. However, I want to redirect your attention to the date. This article was published in 2010, only a decade after the internet became widely available to the masses. Back then, people were still doing things like my mom were, one task at a time. They went from there all the way to the boom of the internet. Of course, when people have to make this kind of adjustment, their brain has not practiced multitasking in this way. Decades ago, there was no reason to multitask. However, someone like me, who grew up with the internet and this mass overload of information, is not intimidated by all of the information I am presented with. I grew up in a state where so much has always been around me, and while I'm sure my brain still chooses what information to process, it doesn't struggle with juggling all of these things like my parents' brains do. This development is called neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to adapt, modify, and change both structure and function based on experiences. So I would argue that checking TikTok while writing my essay reminded me that there are people out there living completely different worlds than me, and I should be open-minded. Reading about the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard articles told me that I can't persuade everybody, so I should just be the best me that I can be and hope for the best. Going on Snapchat reminded me the importance of interconnection and relationships. And posting on my private, well, that was just me flexing. The switch from sequential thinking to parallel thinking, or the turning of tides into Gen Z productivity, is going to be the future of the workforce. To prepare for the switch, adults should be open to breaking away from current ideas of productivity and how to evaluate it. While change is scary, there is no need to worry here. Speaking not just for myself, But for all the teens here, we've seen a lot, and we know what's cool. So, let us do a little bit more. I promise you, you'll be impressed. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for attending today's event. We hope you had a good time. If you have any questions for us, our speakers, or about TED, please visit our website posted on the slide above.
Well, yeah, like Casey had said earlier, our contact information is on the website. If you have any questions as to how we started this event, kind of the history behind it, or anything else, please visit the website posted above. And we hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much.